Let's go live. Let's go live, everyone. Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast Tuesday. And I appreciate that you're here. Thank you for showing up. I'm looking forward to it. So let's dive into it. Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. So, my guest didn't show up or hasn't arrived yet. Let me just say, the guest has not arrived yet. And I'm sure that it's probably one of my challenges because I have been so excited to have her join me because we're talking about email. We're talking about doing some amazing things together. Just in this email, this live streaming, this social media thing, and talking about life. So, but I know Emily will be here because you know what? I'm going to add her to the stream right there. Woo, Emily's here. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
It's another beautiful day. It's not quite light here in Arizona, so I'm getting the day started and working to achieve something amazing today. I don't know what it is. I don't know when it'll happen, but it will be amazing.
Perfect. That's great.
So, Emily, I've seen some of the things that you've been doing, and I started an email in 1995.
Oh, wow.
And I've been a fan of email and building systems around that and some of the things. And your website, I love your website, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And and I have to give her a shout out. I have to give Emily a shout out because when she signed up, she actually put her media kit in the link. It's like, okay, I don't need to go to a bunch of places to find anything. I know exactly where to find everything. So tip for producers, tip for podcasters and live streamers. So go check out Emily's site. So Emily, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to these days.
Yeah, so I own Flourish and Grit, an email marketing and automation studio. I've had that now. I'm coming up on 4 years. I've had to remember to switch how many years it's been. So I'm coming up on 4 years, and I started the business because I was doing email marketing exclusively before then, and I had a baby and moved back to Michigan to be near family. And when I was looking for jobs, I wasn't finding the perfect job. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna create my own job. That can't be that hard, right?
Right.
Yes. Which I have now learned is not the case. But you roll with it.
Yeah.
So, I've been doing email exclusively for about 8 years now and working with brands, hundreds of $1 million valued brands, and consultants, small tech startups, SaaS businesses, you name it.
Yeah.
Probably worked with them. It's been a blast.
So tell me, what was the trigger back a number of years ago when you decided, 8 years ago, you going, well, I think I'll get into email.
Yeah.
What was it not everybody feels this way? So.
Yeah, well, I was working a marketing job as a social media coordinator. I feel like that's how everybody gets into marketing, right? And they were like, you do internet, you can do email too, right? So I was like, sure, why not? Let's try it. And I tried it and I loved it because I like the idea of being able to build relationships, and you also get to track your contacts' behavior so you can get some feedback on
Uh-huh.
how to tailor your relationship messaging to them better.
Oh, it's amazing what you can do when you have an email uh, workflow that works.
Right.
And
Yes.
it takes a lot of effort and talent in order to achieve that result. So I'm surprised that not more people are talking about email, because email still works. You know, everybody says I don't open my email, and it's I don't read my email, yada yada yada, but it still actually works. So
Yeah.
maybe you can qualify me on that, or
Yeah. So I
validate that statement a little bit
right.
for me.
Yeah, so I think, it's one of those things that, email we use all day, every day.
Uh-huh.
And so we take it for granted. We think like, oh, it's just sending an email. That's not a big deal. I do that all the time. But there's a lot of technical pieces that go with it. There's a lot of strategy. And it's a very rich, deep world of technical understanding to know, because it's such a unique beast.
Mhm.
But I've seen the power of email, obviously, because I do it all day, every day. But I have seen email campaigns that, convert at over 25%. Those are the ones that tend to be more targeted and in
Mhm.
workflows, like you said, because they're often behavior based, right? The trigger is behavior based. So you can look at something somebody has done on your website or with an email or signed up for something and start tailoring your messaging to those folks really precisely. And so that takes more complex strategy and work that I think most people are just like, it's email.
Yeah.
And, but that means you have to have really clean data. It means you have to have systems in place and a really solid strategy to make it work.
So now, are you working both sides of the equation, the messaging side and the workflow? Because do you get into DKIM and warming up domains or anything like that, and technical side of that?
Do I get into that a little bit in that I know how to work with dev on how to make those things happen. But yeah, I work on messaging and strategy, design, copywriting, the whole thing,
Uh-huh.
just because I find that, writing for email is different.
Hmm.
Designing for email is different, and email strategy is just different. And so unless somebody on a team that I'm working with has somebody who has like email copywriting experience or email design experience, I um I I just do it because again, it's such a unique beast, and
Hmm.
either I need to coach somebody through how to tailor their skill set to this field or just do it myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely interesting.
It's so funny that we're talking about this. I used to teach a class years ago when I was in Houston, and talk about email and different messaging. Like the subject line is to get them to open. The first line in the message is to get them to read it, and then it's almost like this cascade effect. And then you want to leave them wanting more. So when you send them the next email, they'll actually be excited about it.
Exactly.
And it's a strategy, and it takes a skill. So you must have kind of evolved from social media and actually acquired a little niche for this. So
Yeah.
congratulations for you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I've literally sent thousands of email campaigns and tested hundreds of variables. So,
Mhm.
when you're sort of in the trenches like that, it's, you're going to learn whether you want to or not, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes, which I've
Yeah,
done.
I call them
So
experiences.
I love that. That is such a nice twist on that, or spin on
Yeah.
that.
It's like, well, you think about a scientist and they're doing lab experiments. And so it's
Yeah,
like, okay, hey, it's an experiment. All right, we learned this from it.
right.
Here's some more experience to add to the equation. So
Exactly.
I want to give a shout out, Toya Glenn. Good morning. I hope you're well. Thank you so much for joining us. Woot woot, she says. Elise in from South Africa. Thank you so much, Elise. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining us. Denise in from Houston. Yes, good morning from Houston. She says, "Oh, can't be that hard." Yes, it is hard. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Denise. Howard Kaufman. Yes, Howard. I taught. I shared with Howard. I'm a certified trainer with Dub, which is a video email plugin that I love. I actually have produced, actually like 40% open rate on some of these emails that I send out. And it's just, I love the platform, and it's really a great platform to use. So we might have to get into that a little bit later. But and then Wendy says, "Good morning, pirates. Thank you so much for being here, Wendy." So you've been doing this for 4 years yourself. You have a couple of other people that work with you. So you're kind of like a band of professionals helping people unravel their email sequences and get their workflow. Do you have any preferences as far as platforms, or are you fairly platform agnostic?
Yeah, I mean, so I typically recommend Active Campaign to
Hmm.
most businesses, B2B specifically. It does a lot of what I'm sorry, does a lot of what HubSpot does at a
Hmm.
fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
And is super affordable when you start looking at the landscape. And then for e-commerce businesses, I usually recommend Klaviyo or OmniSend.
Hmm.
Those two have really powerful integrations with Shopify and e-commerce platforms. So, and they have like really great predictive analytics that are fantastic. So, those are the three I typically recommend. But everybody's different,
Yeah.
and especially if you have something custom developed in house, you got to be a little bit more choosy about who you're working with.
Yeah. And I know it's important because once you go down the path of being on a certain platform, and I've been on a lot of platforms because you know, I'm a professional squirrel hunter. I like to go out and
Same.
research. And
Same.
so, and I'm right now, I'm on Drip. Uh,
Hmm. That's a good
so
one.
Drip's been pretty good. I have been on Active Campaign in the past. However, it didn't integrate with what I wanted to integrate.
Yeah.
And so I moved to Drip, and because I have a bunch of different sites that I manage, and it's just really, I mean, it's okay. Um,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, it's
know,
a
and
good one.
yeah, and the thing that I really love using though is like I mentioned, Dub, because I can just integrate it with my Gmail, and I can send out personalized emails and get people in the. And I'm building out the Pirate Syndicate just as an FYI to help producers learn how to produce shows and also produce shows for other business owners. So if you're ever thinking about doing a show for email, let me know.
I will. I
That would
will
be
for
it'd
sure.
be kind of a fun show.
You're
I don't know
probably
if
the only
there's
person who would say that.
well, people I think underestimate email so much.
I do.
It just really does generate a lot of conversations, and messaging, SMS. There's a lot of ways you can connect on social. So, but I know that email is not dead. Like you said,
Right.
we're in email all day long. So, what's the
Yeah.
most challenging thing you're looking at right now? What's the most challenging part of um, an email agency, if you will, and getting these campaigns working with clients.
Yeah. So I think, you kind of just touched on it, which is an attitude about email.
Mhm.
People always are always trying to predict the death of email.
Mhm.
And from my experience, it isn't dead. Obviously, because I see the results, but that the way we think about email is dead. So what I've noticed is, a lot of people come from this idea that email is evolved from direct mail, which it did, right? In
Mhm.
a
Right.
sense. So these flyers people are sending out, brochures, promotional mailers, whatever they are, that it directly translates to email. And it can, in a way, right? There are pieces of that that make a lot of sense. But the way people consume content is totally different in the digital realm than it is with a piece of paper. And so I see that attitude sort of also bleed into how people think of newsletters. So they think like, oh, it's like we did in the back in the older days, I don't know, old school,
Yeah.
where we would print 10 articles front to back.
Pre-internet.
Yeah, exactly, and mail them out. And so
Mhm.
I see people do the same thing with their emails. They jam a ton of content into their emails, expecting people to read all of that. But people are not sitting down and reading paper front to back, distraction free anymore.
Right.
We're consuming that content digitally. And so we are, as marketers, any kind of digital marketer, you're competing with distractions for people, right? The notification, the text, the Slack message, the kid running into the room, right?
Yep.
So we have to keep our content really short and punchy and streamlined to help people focus on the content of the email instead of saying, well, here's 10 of my greatest hits, right?
Yeah.
Here are 10 articles you should read plus 3 podcasts to listen to. Basically, I'm asking you to commit the next 2 hours of your life to reading through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's not how people work. And so, my job then becomes explaining that to clients and then start getting them to reframe how they think about delivering content in general, right?
Mhm.
It needs to be short and focused, consumable in a few minutes. And that's the best way to keep people's eyes on your stuff, which is a big shift for a lot of people.
Do you have any emails I that you actually, enjoy opening? You look forward
Yeah.
to?
Well, I do. So this is also funny. There is exceptions to the rules with newsletters because I do sign up for some that are explicitly like business news, like The Hustle. I really like their emails. And
Okay.
there's another one called The Click, and it's just about digital marketing. So it's a daily email. But yeah, those you sign up with the knowledge that that's what you're getting.
Like Morning
Um,
Brew is one of the ones that, a lot of people have signed up for that have a great I like the way they, actually encourage others to share it out too.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But in terms of emails from brands, there is, if you're in the e-commerce world and you're looking for some really creative emails, there are two what they call bro tailors, um, Chubby's Shorts.
Uh-huh.
Their emails are hilarious, and then they have a competitor called Shinesty, and their copy is always super creative and their emails are just a delight. Those are two I really recommend
Oh, I'll have to
checking
check
out.
that. I have to
Yeah,
check them out.
yeah.
Hey, Russ Hedge is in the house. Hi, everyone. Thanks for your great recommendations, Emily.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Robert Barry is here. Thank you so much. Uh, Russ says email is important. Uh, absolutely, Russ. Peekaboo from Maryland, U.S. Daniel Hall has some great stuff going on. Awesome to be here. And Alexandria, morning from Ohio, Alexandria. Thank you so much. I actually, I have a bad habit, Emily, full transparency. I like to sign up for emails to see what their sequence looks like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. I do that too, and then or I buy something online and I'm, like, checking my email all the time to see what their post-purchase series is like.
Hmm.
There yeah, I got one from, a brand that makes these rugs, Ruggable, where
Uh-huh.
you can machine wash the top of the rug, and their post-purchase series, I was in love with, and, that's when you know you're an email marketer, when you're, like, checking your email inbox and you're like, "Ooh, which of these do I need to screenshot today?"
What's going in my swipe file, huh?
Exactly, exactly.
Dave is in from Chicago. Thank you so much for Dave for showing up here. Alexandria says, I'm looking for CRM recommendations, getting my email list up and going this quarter. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing that. You, CRM, actually, Active Campaign has a decent CRM uh, option. I know it's an upgrade, but do you utilize that or do you utilize someone else?
Yeah, I use Active Campaign for that, because it has the built-in CRM.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it, and yeah, best bang for your buck.
Yeah. I used Nimble for years as a CRM and email because it had email templates and I could actually acquire, uh, conversations and document them. And I migrated last year to Pipedrive because I was frustrated that Nimble didn't have integration with uh, Dub. So I went to
Oh, yeah.
Pipedrive, and it's been working out really well for me. So Alexandria, if you want to talk about CRMs and getting organized, I can share a few ideas. I won't go as far as organization with you. Full transparency, and I go through spurts of organization. It's like I can get really good at building systems, and then it's like I get distracted by something
Yep,
else.
yep.
Full on. Uh, so as you go through this, when people come to you, they say, Emily, I need to get something out there. I need to uh, get some conversions on my Shopify store, or I need to, you know, uh, launch this campaign. Can you help me? How do you approach that?
Yeah, so usually I actually start working with clients doing an audit and strategy,
Mm,
because I can give somebody, recommendations off the top of my head based on my experience, but unless I'm looking at what you're working with, those are just general pieces of advice. So, yeah, so usually I do an audit and strategy where I actually look at, okay, where are the opportunities here?
mm-hmm.
um how's your database set up to make sure you can execute these opportunities, and what are key campaigns that you're missing that every business should have,
Yeah.
and how do you package those with messaging and all of the fun things. So that's usually where I start, and the core of that is identifying what people's goals are for their email campaigns, which you would think is pretty basic, but when you're just doing stuff, you're just trying to get it done. Most people don't start with, okay, what are my goals here? You're just trying
Yeah.
to get it done.
I just need my
So
phone to ring. That's all, Emily. I
exactly.
just need my phone to ring.
Exactly. So, so breaking down those goals and how we can measure them, and get them set up so they're really easy for your customers to achieve,
Uh-huh.
um, is baseline. Because otherwise you're just sort of shooting in the dark unless you have goals, like explicitly defined goals.
Yeah.
Everything is just sort of scattershot.
How do you define success? How do you define done? What is
Right.
what does the success criteria look like?
Well, and like, what do your customers need to do in order to become a customer? And a lot of people don't think about that. They're just like, well, they just need to contact me. And it's like, okay, how are you guiding them? Oops, excuse me. I just
Yeah.
bumped my mic. How are you guiding them to do that and making it really easy for them? So, just telling people to pick up the phone is, very simple, but a lot of people don't like doing that. So how do you set up a system that makes it easier for people to do so they're more likely to do it? So things like that.
Yeah. I call that remove the friction. You have to remove the
Yes.
friction from that.
Yes.
Gabe
Friction
is
is
in the house. Thank you, Gabe. Gabe and I are doing some great work together on putting working on the Pirate Syndicate, putting courses together and
nice.
creating some content there. So I love working with Gabe on that. We actually got a an event coming up this afternoon, so stay tuned for that on LinkedIn if you want.
Ooh,
Alexandria says thank you so much. She says I love being organized. My jam.
love it.
Well, I need to work with organized people because I tend to get off on a tangent. So, but I really I want to go back to this point, Emily, because I think it's glossed over way too much. That the customer journey, like we were talking about, you're mentioning, how do they do it? Where do they go? What needs to be next? And so email is a component of the customer journey a lot of times. However, it sounds like you almost have to unplug and unpack all of their components in order to get their email working. And I'm a total advocate of that. It's like what's before it, what's after it, and where are the connections being made? So do you map that out for your clients and help them understand why things may not be working as effectively as they could be? Or
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah, customer journey is a big part of what I do. And so it's not only, identifying their goals, but also, the specific stages your customers are in terms of their journey and how do you nurture to the next stage.
yeah,
So, most of that is email messaging, right? But it also means you have to have all these back end components like a call scheduling tool or an easy checkout page to make it really, really work. And, email is a part of that. Email is going to start driving traffic to those things. But if those things I'm driving traffic to aren't optimized, the performance goes down. So,
yeah,
my job is to make sure that every piece of it is as ideal as possible. And I get, we're all dealing with our own set of resources, right? So it's not always possible, but as much as we can. So, but yeah, I break down each stage and, how do you map out that customer journey and how you get people from point A to B to C to D to E. And there might be different goals for each of those stages.
hmm
So, yeah, it's really looking at a full picture of your email marketing program because it's not just newsletters, it's not just sending out an e-blast like people like to call them. It's really specific strategic communication.
engagement.
Yes.
Engagement. Uh, so talking about engagement before we wrap up today, and thank you so much for being here. By the way, I just truly appreciate this conversation because it's so valuable for so many, and I think it's underestimated and underutilized and underappreciated. So I appreciate what you're doing, and so I just want to recognize that and thank you so much for being here as well. And the one question I want to ask is growing your email list
Yeah.
for a small business owner that just is starting out, a solopreneur, a freelancer, somebody that actually is really, just getting out in the world. How have you seen recently that works that to grow your email list? What are some tactics or techniques you've seen that have been valuable?
Yeah, so the 3 things I usually recommend for looking at how to grow your list are, A, is your form easy to find,
Hmm. Yeah.
on your website, or do you have a specific landing page dedicated to email sign up, which I would recommend having? Are you incentivizing people to sign up for your email list? So, join our list is not a good enough reason for most people to want to sign up for your emails. You have to give them a reason, right? Like, what
Yeah.
are they going to get out of being on your email list, whether that's
Yeah.
deals or tips or whatever? And then the third thing is you have to drive traffic to your sign up form. You have to tell people about it.
To
And
go
so I
there
think,
and do this.
yes, and I think people think that it's this passive thing, which it can be very much a passive thing.
Yeah.
But especially when you're getting started, you have to, again, make it easy for people to understand how to sign up for your emails. So I always recommend a landing page just for your email sign up, even if that's a lead magnet or something like that,
Yeah.
free piece of content. And then posting on social media about it and linking to it, driving ads to it is going to be, is going to exponentially grow your list fast.
Yeah.
But to start out, like, share it everywhere in your email signature, do dedicated social media posts for it. If you're speaking in front of an art audience, make sure people know about it.
Let people know about it.
Yeah,
It's pretty simple. Yet so many people fail to actually expedite that offer. So,
exactly.
well, Emily, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'd love to stay connected. And now that you're a pirate, we're on board, and we got a whole community behind us that probably needs your service at some point in time. So I'd really love to introduce you to the pirate community and continue to grow this amazing opportunity. I just Bernard, just a couple of people jumped in. Bernard, good morning from Madrid, Spain. Thank you so much for being here. He's doing some stuff on live streaming. Emily is fantastic. Thank you so much, Alexandria. Gabe, hey there, Daniel Hall and Dave Seville. We have, Dave says Gabriel is the bomb. So a lot of fans in here. Uh, thank you so much, Emily. And where's the best place to reach you? Is it Flourish and Grit?
Yeah, and I'm also on LinkedIn. They let me on LinkedIn, so you can find
They
me there.
they did.
They did. Yeah, it's very exclusive. And if you're looking for ways to boost your email open rates, I have a free action guide on my site. It's at flourishgrit.com/open.
I'm going to go download that right now. Well, thank you, Emily. Appreciate you and everything that you're doing. And also for the Pirates, I just really, truly appreciate that you dropped by, stopped in for a little bit of education on a Tuesday. I look forward to continuing to grow the Pirate Syndicate. If you haven't seen that, I got some free courses over there. You could sign up for some free courses and education about live streaming. And I have also on Dub, because I'm a huge fan, advocate, number one fan and advocate. And also just connect with each other. Use this as an opportunity to introduce yourself to the other pirates and people that are joining in. So look forward to you. Next show is tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Arizona time. So join us. We're probably going to have a couple of surprise guests on. I won't tell you who, but I will encourage you to join us at that point if you're available. And Emily, don't go away because I'll be right back. But we do this because kindness is cool and smiles are free. So you enjoy the day. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.